opposing teams bleeding.
Welcome back to Buc What Ya Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buc What Ya Heard, no longer Twitter, on X. You follow me and I'll follow you back. I'm joined by my co-host, Michael Pless. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, Gene. It's awesome to be back on. And yeah, football season's here. So really excited and can't wait for, things to get going in the regular season.
Yeah, me too, man. So questions will get answered. And I believe that there's enough talent on this team where if we have, problems or catastrophic injuries that people will be able to step up and fill in most positions. I still have questions about certain things, but I'm sure it'll play itself. It's going to play itself out, as the season progresses. 17 games, long season. So a lot of football ahead of us.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, it's great to be back on here with you. And if you guys are joining us, be sure to hit that like button for Buc What You Heard. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe. Trying to get those subscribes up for the channel. So, but yeah, no, it's awesome that we're in full swing of things, and football is just it's nonstop. It's on every hour pretty much, which is awesome. And for our Bucs, they've had one preseason game so far, and you can't really take too much from the preseason. I think what you look at is, you want to see some good execution. You want to see certain players and see if they're capable of, being somebody in this league or add depth or, fill a role. And I think that's what they're looking for. But, so far we've been pretty fortunate with the injuries, knock on wood. Russell Gage out for the year. That's the big injury so far right now. But everything else is going, according to plan. And, I think we'll have a quarterback named here soon, probably after this week.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And again, I was kind of indifferent when Baker Mayfield was signed to the Bucs, because I wasn't sure what to expect. I love what he does with the play action. I really like how he handles that. But again, it's preseason. What we're seeing is a lot of, you look for behaviors in the preseason. You don't look for the play of the day, because they could have they could be up one game and down the next. So you look for behaviors and certain trends that players have, and it kind of gives you an indication of how they're gonna be in the season if you see things consistently throughout these next two games.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what you're looking for this week against the Jets is, like you said, you want to see, consistency, but you also want to see some things improve. Obviously looking back at last week, the biggest issues was the penalties. And that's something that, unfortunately for us as Bucs fans, it's been kind of common occurrence. And you hope it goes down this week in numbers, and you try to limit that. Other than that, I thought there was a lot of good things, offensively and defensively, especially with the new scheme. Again, it's a lot of vanilla stuff, but you can kind of see what they're trying to do, more play action, more bootlegs, getting people on the move, free releases, a lot of different things that we haven't seen before in the past few years. So I thought all of that was very encouraging going forward.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think folks need to kind of take a step back when you're talking about the offensive line. This isn't the same offensive line you saw last year. There are a lot of new faces, and offensive lines take a little bit of time to gel. And again, I wouldn't read too much into it. Like I said, you want to look for consistency from certain players as the preseason progresses, and that's kind of what you're looking for. Is, hey, how did he handle this defender, or how did he stand up in the pocket, or how is his footwork or hand placement? How does that look? And is he doing this on a consistent basis to protect the quarterback? And that's what you should be looking for. You shouldn't be looking for, oh, he got beat on this play. I mean, we've got Cody Mock is a rookie on this offensive line. I didn't think he did as bad as people thought he did. I think his strength is with run blocking. He pretty much pancaked a few people in there. The first quarter that I was paying really close attention to. But again, these players have not all played together on the same line, and it's consistency. It's make sure that You take care of your assignment, do your job, and I think that offensive line will come together.
Yeah, people with offensive line, it's tough because you play they played like 47 snaps last week.
Mhm.
And if you have, 3 bad plays out of those 47, you have a bad day, or at least
Right.
that's what people think. They think, "Oh, this guy sucks," you know, he
Yeah.
allowed all the sacks and, people don't see like in that moment, they don't see what's actually going on. They don't see that, maybe Kyle Trask had an option to get rid of the football, but he
Mhm.
didn't,
Mhm.
held on to it, or they don't see a receiver ran the wrong way as far as a
Yeah.
route where he was looking, that guy
Yeah.
did, the play was disrupted because of
Mhm.
that. Then he ends up on his back, or,
Yeah.
tight end comes in motion to block and he hits the right tackle. So
Mhm.
there's all those things you have to consider. And offensive
Yeah,
line,
there was a play where Keyshawn Vaughn missed a block, or no, he
right.
missed an assignment, and it just blew up the whole play. And
Mhm.
everybody is blaming the offensive lineman, but when you go back and rewatch it, you
Yeah.
can see plain as day what happened. So yeah,
Mhm.
like, yeah, that's what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. And again, you want to build that consistency. You want to have people that are going to come out there and give you. And I guess it would take a lot of the worry off of the fans if you got players that are going out there doing what they're supposed to, and you're
Mhm.
not having to stress about it. And again, as Bucs fans, we still got PTSD from pre 2020,
Yeah.
where I can remember seeing plays that develop, and what's getting ready to happen because the team was just not there.
Mhm.
So again, we've all seen this movie, and we hope that with the Super Bowl win, with the different quarterback coming in, given that mentality, that players can come around and really kind of boost the team up, because that's where the strength is. If you can make improvements without the coaches, but within the team, as far as discipline, with penalties and stuff like that. So those are the kind of things you want to look for.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of those penalties were, pre-snap. So
Right.
if you clean that up, the illegal formations, guys knowing where to line up. Trey Palmer had one where he was, he should have been off the line of scrimmage and just didn't
Yeah.
get, set. So, those are fixable, those are correctable.
Hmm.
The holding penalties, yeah, I mean, they're kind of hit or miss. The one
Hmm.
offensive pass interference that Trey Palmer had, I didn't think was much.
No, that
I
was a
think,
BS
yeah,
call.
yeah. So, a lot of ticky tack calls. And usually that happens in preseason because refs are trying to
Yeah.
establish, what is going to be called during the regular season.
Hmm.
So, and they're getting into regular season mode as well. So it's still preseason for them. They have to
Yeah.
get, their work in. Um, so yeah, I mean, that would be the biggest thing I'm looking for when we go to this week against the Jets. And obviously you want to see the offensive line play a little bit better, a little bit more continuity in the run game. Even though you take those penalties away, they had over 100 yards rushing. So when you
Yeah.
look at it from that standpoint, it's not that bad.
Hmm.
So I like what I saw from last week, and hopefully that continues, and we can get a little bit more points early on in the game, get some rhythm. I think that's what you're hoping for, and guys stay healthy for sure. That's the biggest.
Yeah, and for me, the running back room is pretty underrated. When you're talking about the offense,
Mhm.
I love Rashad White. What Rashad White is doing. Um, I keep drawing a blank. Our other second wide receiver. I mean,
Uh,
running back.
Chase Edmonds
Yeah,
looked really
Chase
good.
Edmonds. I keep wanting to say Chase Claypool. That's what I go ahead. Chase Edmonds.
Yeah.
Chase Edmonds, nice hands, very
Mhm.
nice, very soft hands. I didn't see him bobble anything. I think we've gone through the era of Ronald Jones, and you're clenching your fists hoping he catches the ball. But
Yeah.
now you have a running back. Even Lenny was kind of iffy in the beginning with his pass catching, but you have Chase Claypool coming in. Geez, there I went. Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds coming in here,
Yeah.
and nice hands, man. He's able to get the ball and turn around and get up the field, and which is what you want from your running back. And hopefully, Rashad White can learn some things from him as well, and progress as the season goes on.
Yeah, definitely. I liked what I saw from Chase. I mean, he showed, good, decisive, quick running, getting through the hole, pretty smooth. So yeah, he was very versatile and, being able to catch the football, like you said, obviously for the backups, it's going to come down to who can be a pass protection, you know,
Yeah.
uh, reliable option back there because obviously Rashad White's going to take a lot of the snaps. He's going to be your main guy, but you want to have either Chase Edmonds or Keyshawn
Hmm.
Vaughn step
Right.
up in that pass protection role
Hmm.
so they can fulfill the third down back responsibility. But so that's something, we have to look for because Chase Edmonds got blown up a little bit last week on
Hmm.
one. And I think, I'm not sure if Sean Tucker, they didn't really put Sean Tucker in that opportunity,
Right.
which I like him. I like him as a runner. I thought he did some good things. Should have had a touchdown,
Yeah.
but, a little ticky tack there with the
Yeah,
refs.
exactly. And don't even get me started on the refs.
Mm,
I'm trying my best this year, not because I have a real problem with the refs in sports betting, but I'm not getting on that soapbox right now.
mm,
Um Keyshawn Vaughn is concerning to me. I don't know if he makes the 53. I mean, with it's 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 up in the air to me. I
mhm,
mean, if I'm looking at the team and what each player has done, and this is a new offense, so I have to kind of take a step back. I can't be that critical
mm.
because this is a totally new offensive scheme for everybody. So um, hopefully he picks it up this next two games and uh, gets out there and shows improvement.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing for him or going for him is special teams, and that's
Right.
where I think he does well. So, he adds value to that aspect. So he's probably going to be on the roster. I think they carry four running backs, and probably they'll have some flexibility at some other positions where they can keep the extra back. So that shouldn't be an issue. Um, but yeah, I mean, offense overall, just summing it up from last week, there was a lot of promise. There was a lot of good
Mhm.
things that
Yeah.
you saw. You saw receivers like open in space, which we haven't seen in the
Oh
past,
my
where
God.
guys were like actually running to space where,
Hmm.
they have an easy target for the quarterback. So we saw that a couple times with
Hmm.
Baker Mayfield in there. Kyle Trask had some nice throws as well. Even though he had the interception, I thought he played pretty well, despite, there's some things that he has to pick it up a little bit
Hmm.
quicker with his processing.
Right.
But I mean, you can see that Baker's just a little bit more comfortable in the offense, and it feels
Yeah.
like he's most likely going to be the starter, which I
Yeah.
think a lot of Bucs fans will agree that he just has the edge because he's been there, done that.
Yeah.
Um, and we got to see how it's going to play out. But
Yeah.
I
Uh,
liked a lot of the things I saw.
Yeah, and again, like I said, if he does what I think he could potentially do, he can
Mm,
make plays with his legs when he needs to. We know that he has that in his back pocket. I love the play action. I mean, the play
right.
action passes. I mean, you could see the defense froze. The
Mm,
defense was like, okay, we have to respect his legs. We have to respect his arm. And so there were opportunities for the Bucs to make some plays. And again, those back breaking penalties. And see, I don't care about penalties are part of the NFL.
right.
It's when they occur
Yep.
that I struggle with because there are some there. I mean, and we've seen as Bucs fans, you've seen it back-breaking penalties at the wrong time. You can take a 20-yard gain and turn it into a 10-yard loss just because of a penalty.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things that they really need to clean up. And the preseason is the time to do it. I don't want to be having this conversation game 6 or game 7. These are things that they really need to get to work on. And again, folks, I know this is my show. I'm going to say this. I know a lot of people may not agree with this. I still have concerns about Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles has a lot to prove this year
Mm,
as a head coach, and his pedigree as a defensive coordinator, we know what he can do. But on the other flip side of the coin, he's the head coach. He's the coach of the whole team, and so there are going to be decisions that are going to need to be made at the right place, right time, and he has to be able to do that in order to get this team back into the playoffs in contention for anything.
no, I'm with you there. I think when you look at this team, and I've been listening to a lot of outside national media podcasts. Like today, I listened to Mina Kimes' podcast with John Ledyard talking about the NFC South. I listened to the athletic podcasts with Dane Bugler and I think it's Nate Tice, who they also discuss NFC South. And you know, the question
Yeah,
marks that come up with this team, you know, it starts with the head coach. You have quarterback question marks, and then offensive line question marks come up,
hmm,
and then we get into more of the depth because there's not a lot of depth when you look at defensive side of the ball, and
yeah,
then obviously offense with some of the positions, mainly offensive tackle. So there's concerns there,
right.
and rightfully so. I mean, with last year, you know, Todd Bowles, it wasn't it wasn't the smoothest operation. We had a lot of questionable decisions throughout, you know,
And
every week.
that's you right
Yeah.
there. That right there, you just hit the nail on the head. There
Mm,
were times where you've got Tom Brady as your quarterback. You should be all in. I mean,
right.
you've been to the Super Bowl. Your goal is to get to the Super Bowl. You need to die trying to get there, and not put it off till next year, or
Mm,
try to make it to overtime. You want to win this game. I'm wanting to put my boot on their neck. This is a high powered league that we're in, and teams can score at any time, and
right.
things can flip in just a second. And just some of the conservative decision making that we saw last year, I'm not going to put it all on Lord Byron, but a lot of it was, but can't put it all on him as the head coach. uh, you got to put your team in a position to win. And if you got players, professional players out there that have a job to do, and it's 4th and 1, and the game's on the line, you got to make the right choice wherever the ball's positioned.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, they're like you said, so he's definitely has to improve his in-game decision making. I think that's something we're going to look for. And will that change knowing that maybe his offense is in better position to do
Mhm.
some different things because of the scheme? Like you also have to take that into account from last year because you were pretty handicapped with what you had at offensive coordinator with Byron Leftwich, and we know his issues and his problems with the scheme. And then also you have to look at Tom Brady was also handicapped as well
Right.
because he didn't offer any mobility back there. And also he was, I mean, he just wasn't all in himself because with
Mhm.
everything that was going on. So sometimes his, you know, with his play, he was just getting rid of the football as fast as he could, not really holding the ball as long as possible needed for these long developing routes and long
Right.
developing plays that were taking place. So with that said, you have to give credit to Todd Bowles understanding, okay, these are the changes we need to make.
Mhm.
And he went out and did that by getting Dave Canales, who you
Yes.
feel is a superior upgrade, even though he is inexperienced himself,
Mhm.
first time play caller. So there might be some growing pains there that we have to look at and see what happens. But if Dave Canales pans out and ends up being a good offensive coordinator, I think that's going to help out Todd Bowles much more than last year. And in those decision making process, as far as being a little bit more aggressive,
Yeah.
understanding what he has.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely something that he needs to work on, and hopefully that improves. And it
We.
already has kind of started when you look at the news today with, you know, they're pretty much not going to play the starters again this week in
Mhm.
preseason. So I don't know how you feel about that as far as playing starters or playing, you know, your top guys in the preseason. I know a lot of teams kind of shy away from it, but
Mhm.
I'm in the mind of I kind of like how, you know, Andy Reid, he plays his starters at least a couple series.
Yeah.
I just like getting that chemistry going
Yeah.
on the field.
Yeah, I totally agree, especially with them, installing a new offense. I would want to get them a couple of reps, in a live game. And again, these are all consummate professionals, the majority of your starters, and they've been in the league long enough. But on the offensive side of the ball, I'm not sure. I'm kind of like you. Uh, because this is a new offense. So I'm not sure how they're going to adjust to it.
Mm,
And if they get off to a slow start at the beginning of the season, how will that affect him going throughout the season? So it's you could see both sides of where we can you can see good and bad on both sides of it. Let's put it that way. But
Yeah.
at the same time though, I like what I've seen, even with the vanilla plays, and you get an idea of what they're trying to do, and kind of moving the pocket around and these types of things. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm a little bit more excited for Baker and what we can do, moving the pocket around, extending plays and that kind of thing. I think that I would rather see the ball in his hands as opposed to Wolford or Trask.
Yeah. Also, shout out to JC Allen. He did break that
Joshua
news.
Cole.
Yeah, so he broke that news that the Buccaneers are going back with the same offense as they had last week, and it looks probably going to be the same defense as well. I assume. So yeah, kudos to him. He's doing a great job over
Yeah.
there at Pewter Report. They're killing it this offseason and
Oh
going
yeah.
into the regular season.
Yeah,
But yeah,
shout out to Joshua Cole Allen,
mhm,
longtime friend of the show, and got to get him back on here sooner or later. But he's so
yeah,
busy;
absolutely.
he's too busy for us little people. That he, so, but if you get a chance, if you're on the artist formerly known as Twitter X, go ahead and follow him. Great follow, great for preseason, especially to keep you up to date on everything that's going on. He's I love his accuracy. I love his dedication to the Buccaneers, and I really appreciate that.
Mhm. But to your point, yeah, I'm excited to see what Baker can do in this offense. I think it's a good fit for him. We discussed it before. I just feel like the system that they're bringing in, the culture, everything fits him from a skill standpoint. So
Yeah,
really excited to see what he can do with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and just a lot of talent around him that he really hasn't had before, especially at
yeah,
the receiver position. Um, and yeah, it should be fun how to utilize those personnel groupings and going forward.
yeah, absolutely, Josh. Wow, we've got Pewter Report royalty in here. We've
Yeah,
got Josh Capos in here, Joshua Cole Allen. Hey, it doesn't get any better. Come on in and join the party.
yeah,
No, I know we haven't talked a lot about the defense, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Shaq Barrett. I did not To be honest, I did not expect much from Shaq Barrett until like maybe game 6, game 7, because of the injury, the type of injury that he's had.
mm,
And I'm really excited, just I've got to temper my expectations, but I'm excited from what I'm seeing from him right now. Because I like I said, I did not expect this to see any of this this early in the preseason.
yeah. I think the effort that Shaq has made, and I mean he looks great out there. It looks like he was never hurt. So his uh his work ethic and just his battle to get back to 100% is really inspiring, and that's big kudos to him. So yeah, really excited to see how he's going to play this year, and I think him and Vita Vea alongside Kalijah Cansey and JTS. I think that'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Any word on Kalijah Cansey? Are we like not going to see him till regular season? Is that kind of where
I
we
think
are?
I think he's making progress, and I know 007 Ness had a question on like how we're going to use him. I think you're going to typically see him in that three tech position where he's going to be kind of moved around a little bit, but just his job is going to get penetration up the middle, and get after the quarterback, cause disruption on first and second down, try to blow up some plays. So he'll be kind of utilized everywhere. I don't think he's going to have a set position. So he's tremendous as far as his technique goes, and he should be able to have success early on. And that's what you hope for moving forward. But I really like his tape, and I can't wait to see him play. But yeah, most likely it's going to be week 1 against
The
the
Vikings.
Vikings. Yep.
Yeah. Again, that's the thing. We talked about it last year. We just didn't really see it. Again, it's get home with 4.
Yeah.
That's the trick right there. If you can get pressure on the quarterback with 4, I mean, that frees up everybody else to do what they need to do. And I think that is the key this year. I mean, JTS, this is going to be his year, man. This is the year you gotta put
Mm,
up and do
yeah.
something. You've gotten close, gotten close, but now you got to put it all together. That's kind of the expectation this season, is to really, take that next leap to get better.
Mm.
Because he's going to be relied upon a lot this year.
Yeah, definitely. And Josh Crapo says Cansey's roll F shit up. Yeah, exactly. That is what his job is. But yeah, to your point, JTS, I think is definitely due for a breakout season. The pressure is on for him because guess what? Yaya Diaby is not sitting quietly. Like he had a really good game last week against Pittsburgh, and he's going to challenge JTS for playing time.
Mm,
So I think that's what that's a good thing for the Buccaneers defense because it just gives you more flexibility and more
mm,
options.
yeah.
But yeah, JTS, you want to see him put it all together, which I think he will.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Real quick, timeout. I
Mm,
got
mm.
shout out to Shooter of Shooter in the Stash. Uh, I do have to talk about the kicking position. I was going to bring it up. Kicker and punter. With Suck Up gone, um, in your opinion, how are the Bucs looking from camp to this first game in preseason? How, in your opinion, what are you seeing from the Bucs right now? Do you see anything to be concerned about, in your opinion?
Well, I think special teams as a whole is a lot better than we've seen recently. Just based off the first game against Pittsburgh, I thought special teams was really good coverage wise. I think Jake Camarda has a good chance of being a Pro Bowler this year if he continues to kick like he is. And then, with the kicker, I think Chase McLaughlin probably has the lead on Rodrigo just because he's been a little bit more consistent throughout camp, in my opinion. But we'll see how it comes, down. I think they'll keep both kickers. One's going to be on the practice squad, and then obviously one will get the job. But I like what they're doing special teams wise. I thought return game was a lot better. They could use something in punt return, but I thought kickoff return was a lot better from that standpoint. Trey Palmer had a nice return last week.
When was the last time the Bucks had a good punt returner? I mean, a good consistent
Well, the
punt.
last one is probably Clifton Smith. You look at like Michael Spurlock.
Michael Spurlock, yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was. I was thinking, but I was thinking, was there somebody in between there? And I don't think that there was. I don't. I wonder what it is about quarterback and punt and kick returner. The Bucks just, I don't know. I don't
it's a
know.
it's
That's
a
been
struggle.
historically, it's been a problem.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
So, so for you, what I mean, like with this game coming up against the Jets, got to
Mm,
watch some of the practices. I follow a lot of Jets fans,
mhm.
and they're like super hyped up about how good this team was looking in camp against the Bucks. And it's camp. It's just you're
Yeah,
going one on one. It's practice in shorts. It's not pads on and all this other stuff. And these games don't count for anything really. And you want to just try to get out of it healthy.
right.
So, what are your thoughts? I mean, as far as what you've seen from the Bucks, they're getting a hit on some other team that's not theirs, and how are they looking? How does that all look to you?
Yeah, I think well with yesterday's practice, I thought it was a lot of good, just mixed results. I thought, both sides had, good plays and that's usually what you're looking for. But the main thing is they just got good work in. You're going up against a different team, so it's good for the starters, good for the main guys to get good reps in, and you get just different looks that you're not going to see in practice normally. So I thought overall it was a success. You had a lot of fighting going on throughout, which that's going to happen just because
Yeah.
it's hot out there, and you're facing somebody else, and
Mhm.
you know so
But the cool thing about that is it didn't linger. It didn't linger on. It's just like you're in camp. You've got something to prove, and you're going up against the next person, and it's to be expected. To me, if your camp, and maybe I'm wrong here, but if your camp there isn't a fight or a skirmish somewhere, you guys just aren't getting at it like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's just part of the competition,
Right.
which is a good thing. But overall, I thought they got everything they needed, and we'll see how the game plays out. Obviously Kyle Trask getting the start, so you're hoping he can move the football a little bit better, get inside the red zone, and put up some points. And it's going to be a good test because the Jets have a very good front four, so that'll be good work for our offensive line and see what we have. But yeah, I mean, main thing is, like I said earlier, you just want to see good execution, a clean game, try to protect the football and avoid those penalties. Moving throughout four quarters.
Yeah. Josh brought up Jalen Darden. I,
Yeah.
Josh, we've had this conversation before. Well, yeah, I mean, I just want to see this team improve. Everybody in the sports world is pretty much written off Tampa now that Tom Brady's gone. The pressure's off of everybody. I think this team can go out there, relax, be comfortable, and just play their game and just continue to improve. That's what I would want to see from this Buccaneers team this year.
Right. Yeah. You just want to see improvement. You want to see, your depth players kind of stand out and see who's going to take, certain roles. Like, we don't know who's the third cornerback on this team right now.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Zion McCollum as the third outside corner? And then is Christian Izien, the rookie from Rutgers, is he going to be your nickel guy? So you kind of want to see those roles kind of get defined. Same thing with the running backs, like we talked earlier. Who's going to be
Mhm.
running back two? You want to see someone step up for that receiver three spot now that Russell Gage is out. So all those things you want to kind of see those roles get kind of confirmed and especially before the season starts.
Yeah, so that's really exciting there. Question from 007 Ness. What about Cade Warner? Is he making any noise? I wish Joshua Cole Allen was on or Josh Quapo. I'm not sure. I haven't really Kurt Warner's son. Haven't really heard. To be honest, I haven't heard
Uh,
how
Cade
he's.
Cade Warner, I think is definitely growing. I think he's done some good things in camp, but I think right now he's in line to be that practice squad candidate that you can put on there and just let him grow throughout the season, and then hopefully if he takes
Mhm.
enough leaps, he can be someone that you can count on maybe next year. Because he's a guy that just he knows how to get open. He finds ways to get open. Not the fastest, not the biggest guy, but he understands the game, obviously, because learning from a quarterback like Kurt Warner, he knows how to see defenses and find the right spots to get into.
Yeah, what's really interesting. A lot of these players, I can't say all of them, but they learn so much from their parent, from their dad. Coming into the NFL, and like Antoine Winfield Jr. and what he learned from his father. And I've always said that Kurt Warner had a high football IQ, and a great teacher. And I'm hoping that a lot of that, he's instilled in his son to where it's not, he can, find a place that everything will work out for him. So I don't
Mhm.
know. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, a lot of football to be played before the regular season, and so anything can happen at this point.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments. Jeremy talking about Logan Hall.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just, yeah, I'm still not a fan of him. I don't see what everyone else sees. I hope he makes that leap and makes that progress,
Yeah.
because right now he's penciled in as a starter, and I don't know if I would be starting him. He just didn't look good on the 11 reps that he had last week, so I'm hoping to see improvement. But
Yeah.
he's still doing a lot of the same things that he did last year,
Mhm.
especially in the run game and pass rush. I mean, he shows like some flashes, but
I don't see him as that aggressive though, and
yeah,
maybe
there's
and when you look at Vita Vea or
mm,
when Ndamukong Suh is here or JPP or these guys are like they're aggressive, they're hunting the quarterback, and
right. Yeah.
I just am not seeing it. I hope
Yeah,
I'm again. I hope I'm wrong. I'm
yeah.
more than happy on this show. I am wrong all the time. I don't have a problem being wrong, but it's just watching him. I don't know what I don't know what everybody sees.
Mhm. Yeah, I just I would probably start someone else, alongside Vita Vea and Cansey. I would probably, I would probably
I could see you rotating him in
yeah, I
where
mean,
somebody needed
right?
a rest, but
Yeah,
I could
yeah,
see you using him as depth. But when you drafted him where you drafted him, you can't be using a high draft pick as a depth piece. You know what
right.
I mean? It just
Well, the thing is, like, right now, he's still just he's a pass rush, player right now. Against the run, he just gets washed out too many times, but I'm hoping he shows a better, showing this week. And we'll see how it goes. But if it was me, I would probably start like Greg Gaines or someone
yeah,
of that nature,
yeah.
or
There you go.
Golston, or you know,
Mhm.
um, they know what they're doing out there as far as the run game. And I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully,
Yeah,
a better improvement and a better showing this week for sure.
yeah. J or 0118. I think the defense will be solid. The quarterback position will be full of turnovers, so we can limit the turnovers. We can have the Seahawks type run. Yeah, I guess just the offense not being a liability. That's I don't. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but that's kind of where I'm
Mhm.
at. The offense not being a liability and just doing their job. That's what your expectations are, and not trying to push the ball down the field when you don't need to, and you
Mhm.
know I guess taking what the defense gives you. And I know that sounds cliche, but there's a lot of teams that's what they do, and it works for them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it plays out. Um, hopefully he can step up.
So, 007 Ness, who will be our slot receiver? Palmer is more of an outside guy. I mean, you could always use um goodness, why am I drawing I'm just drawing blanks tonight. Um
But to answer that,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. To answer that last question though, I think, yeah, protecting the football is key. Especially at the quarterback position. I think, Baker, obviously is prone for turnovers. He's thrown the most turnovers in the last 5 years, but I think with this system, this offense, they're going to really focus on putting him in good spots. And you just hope, like that guy said, they can limit the turnovers and move like Seattle did last year and kind of have that same type of run.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
to that question, yeah, slot receiver. I think Trey can play inside, but they're looking. I think Devin Tompkins
Yeah.
has a good shot because he's got the quickness, he's got the separation ability. I think he would be a good fit for it, but I think either one of those two, David Moore is another one that has experience and did some good things last week. So I think it's kind of probably going to be like a committee with the slot
Yeah.
receiver moving forward.
Yeah, and I think injury is going to play a huge part in that, how that rotation looks as well. If you can keep everybody healthy, I mean that's
Yeah.
kind of what you want. Yeah, there you go. Um, Hall looked pretty lazy last week. Oh, somebody, I mean, Bud Cannibals mentioned Will Golston.
Mhm.
He's like another guy. I'm glad he's back. I've been was wondering, what was going on with him, and just having him back as a Buccaneer, and especially for run defense, he's gonna be huge, especially
Mhm.
against Atlanta with what they are going to try to do, with the run game.
Right. No, definitely. And Will Golston, playing out there against second and third teamers, he dominated because he's that good. He's just a solid player, so he knows how to beat those guys that are not the strongest at their technique, and it showed. He had 5 tackles, led the team in tackles last week for the game. So
Yeah. So again, these are players that you know what your expectations are, and they do meet or exceed. So I'm excited about that. Just kind of getting back to just the team and the schedule. Um, I think there are a lot of winnable games on here, but
Mhm.
again, the Buccaneers they got to show up and they have to execute and do their job.
Yeah, for
Keith at slot receiver.
Yeah, I don't know about that look. They did have him out wide a couple times last week, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the regular season starts in Minnesota. I think that's a good test for your football team going in and on the road. So if they can find a way to win that game, I think that
Mhm.
could probably spark them a little bit, kind of get the
Yeah.
momentum going, and then you come back home to face Chicago, who's going to be an improved team this year. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that early part of the schedule, if they can find a way to get, 2 wins out of that first 4
Mhm.
going to the bye, and, you see what you have, and then you can make your adjustments. But yeah, I mean, always those first couple of weeks are so important. So hopefully they can get off to a fast start. That is going to be kind of dictate how this season will go. Usually that's, the tale of every season.
Yeah, but historically for the Bucks have always gotten off to slow starts. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. I don't know how to explain it. And
Right.
again, there's that PTSD thing. I'm going pre 2020 here,
Mhm.
and just what we've seen, man. I hope that they can get out to a fast start, and that kind of goes back to your original question where you're talking about, hey, do you get your starters out there and get them some reps? I
Mm.
would say maybe I don't know, first quarter of game three or the preseason game three, get
Mhm.
them some reps, get them, just let them get familiar with each other, especially with that offensive line, new offense, just so they can get some game time, and then they're at least going in. You had kind of have an idea of what you have going into that first game, and you know what you need to improve on, in practice prior to that first game of the season. So
Right.
um, I could see that. I totally
Mm.
could see that. But again, I'm sure that people are, oh, we don't want to get anybody injured. But
Mm.
you know, at the same time, maybe they're looking at a lot of younger players, and who are we going to keep and who are we going to get rid of? We got to give everybody the best opportunity, because you don't have that extra preseason game anymore. So
Mhm. Yeah,
so
I
it's
mean, I'm of the mindset, like, you after this week, you name your starter,
mhm.
and I would like to see the starters out there for at least 1 to 2 series, and you get them some work, and just see what you have on paper, and it just gives you good confidence going into the season, um, and going up against a different team, so you can work on some things, and it would just be nice, especially for the offensive line, getting Tristan Wirfs out there,
Oh yeah,
getting, pretty much all the starters out, except, we don't know what's the case is with Ryan Jensen. We don't know if he's going to be
yeah,
ready to go. So,
and
get
that's
those
been so
pieces.
quiet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky situation. So, we'll see what happens with that. Right now I'd probably say Hainsey is probably going to be your starter to begin the season, and
Mhm.
hopefully, Ryan can come back at some point. But who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe he's going to be ready for week 1. Again, he doesn't need the preseason work, but
yeah,
you just like to see everyone out there. But I don't know. We'll see
yeah,
how it plays out. I'm just of the opinion it would be good to get the starters out there, at least
yeah.
a good test run, and
Mhm.
get them into game shape, get them into, just get comfortable out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. I mean, especially if you want to get off to a quick start in the
Mm,
regular season, because you can't just put a new quarterback in a brand new offense out on the field and expect them to just drive down the field just miraculously. Uh, just the first game of the season, you're gonna run into issues, going into that. So I don't know. I would hope that they would get some reps. Maybe not Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, but get your quarterback out there, get the offensive line out, and get those reps in there. Tristan Wirfs, I
mm.
definitely want to see him in his new position. And I'm going on the record again saying I don't like it that he's in this new position. I really I don't know how it's going to go, but uh, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here, but that's just kind of how I feel about it. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, O line. I think again, it's such a position where you need that continuity. You need
Yeah.
those guys in sync,
If
which is
if last week wasn't an indication, I think
yeah,
it should be.
yeah. Well, I mean, you had the left side that most likely are going to be, backup players. You look at, the center to the right tackle could be your starting on that side. So, and again, you have a lot of youth up there on that right side. You have a rookie and you have a second year player at right tackle. Um, really a rookie because he played left guard last year.
Right.
So
Right. That's pretty much what you're looking at.
yeah, I mean, so yes, it is a question mark. I think that's you're hoping that that unit gels quickly. And the good news is they have been playing together a lot throughout camp.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same unit throughout. So yeah, hopefully they get it. You're learning a new system as well. You're running a new run blocking scheme. As far, yeah, I mean, he did struggle last week, Hainsey,
Yeah.
but again, it's a new scheme. It's something they have to get used to with the
Isn't he coming
footwork.
back off an injury or something like that?
No, he's fine. He's
Oh, he's
healthy.
fine. Okay, he's healthy.
So and again, so we'll just see how that pans out. But
Yeah. It can't
it's
be as bad as like a Caleb Beninock or some of these other clowns that we've had on the offensive.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure. I'm confident in Tristan. I think Tristan will
yeah,
be fine at left
yeah.
tackle. Left guard Matt Filer. I mean, he's okay. I
Mhm.
think he's slightly above what you had last year, which
Yeah,
was okay once they got Nick Leverett in there.
yeah.
And if Gedeke just falls face first on his butt or face first on his face, I mean, they can move Filer to right tackle, and you could put, you know, Leverett in at left guard and
Man,
see what
that's see
happens.
that's what I'm talking about. Those kind of
Mhm.
things, you got to be concerned
Right.
because you don't have anything. Is nothing is set in stone right now.
Yeah.
Just as far as the offensive line goes, we don't know. And Ryan Jensen is the one thing that kind of concerns me the most. I would say across that offensive line because it's like we don't know what's going on here. We don't
Mhm.
know, physically, is he ready to play? Is he going to be, ready? Um, is he in football shape? That kind of thing. So
Yeah.
there's just so many unknowns here on that offense that one minute you're talking about it, and then you think about some of these other positions and how everything kind of falls into place, and you're like, man, I don't know
Mhm.
how this is going to work out. But again, this is the team that they're all professionals. They all have a job to do. They all have to go out there. There are players that are trying to make the team, and they really got to put forth that effort to make the team. And it's kind of next man up for some of these other players. Um, they really have to go out there and put their best foot forward. We want to see the best 53, going into the regular season.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think, the good thing with this roster, I think most of the positions are pretty much who you're gonna have.
Right.
I think the positions that are in question, obviously, is your backup linebacker position. You have outside linebacker that is in question with the fifth guy, and then the secondary with the backup corners and safeties. How does that iron out? But
Yeah.
overall,
Because
I think
you have such a drop off from the
right.
starters to the backups. That's what concerns me. I
Mhm.
think when the Bucks had their Super Bowl run, there wasn't such a drop off from the starters to the backups, and everybody and if they had to, somebody had to go out, somebody that was able to come in, they were able to pick up the slack. But right now, just with that secondary, they're this is one thing you kind of have to, like, I don't know, clutch your pearls, hold on to them, man. Hope that all this
Yeah.
works out. Um, because there's such a drop off in talent from your starters to your backups, and that is
Yeah.
very concerning.
Yeah, no, I think you can say that across the league. Unfortunately, the depth overall is just
Mhm.
not great, especially on offensive line. Offensive line play is suffering, especially
Mhm.
across the NFL when
Yeah,
you get into backups and depth because it's just the way the college football game is played. These offensive linemen are just not they're not ready for the pros. Like as
yeah.
far as getting the right sets, getting the right techniques for what you
Mhm.
need at the NFL level.
They have to be retrained when they get to the NFL.
Yeah, pretty much. So it takes time. It takes time for these guys to learn and develop. And some of the guys just they either make it or they just don't grasp it and they end up, washing out. So yeah, I mean, to your secondary point, yeah, definitely they got to have injury luck. And that's
Yeah.
something they had during the Super Bowl. The
Oh
offensive
yeah,
line,
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
for the Super Bowl season, they had a lot of injury luck. The offensive line played pretty much every game. They didn't lose anybody to injury.
Yeah.
The secondary, for the most part, was pretty healthy. They did have some guys that could, like you said, could come in and step up. And right now, we don't really know what they have back there. So
Yeah.
that is definitely
That's concerning.
a question mark. And good point here by Josh. Yeah, Cody Mock, I'm not worried at all. I thought he did a lot of good things last week.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be fine. Good technique,
Yeah.
run game. He's really strong.
Yeah, I was talking with his uncle,
Mhm.
and we agreed that run blocking is his strength.
Yeah.
And his uncle even said pass blocking is something he may he's got to continue to work on to get better at. But
Right.
run blocking, he's nasty. There's a couple of plays. First quarter, second play, the Bucs had the ball. Go look at Cody Mock again. And he pancaked that fool, and he wouldn't get off of him. He whistle blown. He was still kind of pushing him around a little bit, but that's what you want from an offensive lineman. You want that. You want a little bit of nasty. The fact that he didn't have any front teeth, I love that, man. That's what you want. That's the kind of offensive lineman I want. Me and him sit down and eat some brisket and put his false teeth in. We'll sit down and eat some brisket and drink some beer, and that's what we'll do. But that's the kind of guy you want. He looks like he just grabs a hunk of brisket and just eats it. That's the offensive lineman you want. That's what I loved about Ryan Jensen. Ryan Jensen is in the head of every Saints fan in the NFC, in just all over the country, because of how he handles the New Orleans Saints. They're used to bullying people, but this guy is on another level. And that's why I say he's going to be missed. And I hope that he can get back healthy, because he's an integral part of that offensive line.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about him. And like I said with Filer, I think he's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to be great, but I think he can be good enough to handle that spot.
Yeah, I
But
think he's
really
serviceable.
serviceable. So with this offense, the beauty of it, and we talked about this before, is it helps your offensive line, it helps your quarterback. It's very friendly for these players. So I think, with the pocket movement that they're going to install, you'll have less opportunities for the quarterback just being a sitting duck back there. So get him on the move, let him, be that playmaker outside the pocket. I think that's going to be a good thing for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're going to run the football a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
that's the biggest thing, running the football, and hopefully they can be effective with it. I think,
and I think that
commitment,
opens up your offense so much more when you have a good running game going. And on the flip side of that, if you're getting home with 4, you're putting pressure on the quarterback. You're taking a lot of that pressure off of your secondary, and that's doing nothing but helping them. Your secondary and your linebacker core. If you want to put Devin White in a position, Devin White's in a contract year. I expect Devin White's skill, his play, to be through the roof, because it's a contract year. So, those factors kind of come into play as well. One part of the team, one unit on the team helps the rest of the offensive unit or defensive unit. So if you're running the ball good, you're opening up holes. You've got the defense on their heels. This gives you more options, whether it's through pass or running the ball or trick plays. And I expect to see trick plays. This is not going to be a Byron Leftwich offense that we're going to see this year, thank God. And so it should be a whole lot better. It should be an improvement over last year.
Yeah, and again, I think it's just going to come down to the execution, and that's how it should be. Like you're not already at a disadvantage because your coach doesn't know what to do as far as putting your players in the right spot. And now I think that's not going to happen this year. I think I think Canales understands utilizing analytics and numbers to help him throughout the week for the game plan. Understanding, tendencies and how to attack those. That will be a thing of beauty to definitely watch. And I think fans will see quickly at like how much more open guys get, like Mike Evans and Chris
Absolutely.
Godwin being utilized outside more. I think it's going to be great to
Yeah.
see. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And
That's an instant mismatch right there. If you're
right,
able to dial it up correctly, that's an instant mismatch right there. Oh,
definitely.
and Krillin, for the record, bro, my brisket is so tender, you don't need front teeth, bro. As long as you got the rest of them, you're
There you
good. You're
go.
good money.
Yeah.
So just want to put that out there, man. The brisket, I got that covered. Just so I go back to what I'm saying, man. I would hang out
Mm.
with that dude, man. Eat brisket and drink beer. He looks like that's who you would hang out with. And you see the picture of him with the pheasant where he's going out hunting and stuff. I'd hang out with a guy like that, or Ryan Jensen. Ryan Jensen's dad's pretty cool too.
Yeah. I've heard good things about Ryan's dad.
Yeah.
Actually, Jay Edward,
Mhm.
he talks with Ryan Jensen's dad.
Yeah.
So
He's been
that's
on the
pretty
show a
awesome.
few times.
Hmm.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
cool, real cool.
Yep.
Um, let's see. I put oh yeah, Russell Gage is unfortunately he's out for the year. It's
Mm.
gonna be next man up. I keep seeing on Twitter, I hate when people bring up free agents. Like somebody brought up Jarvis Landry.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think, but again, Jarvis Landry, that might be reasonable because you could get him for veterans minimum. I mean, you're
Hmm.
not breaking the bank bringing somebody like that in, and he does have familiarity with a Baker Mayfield. But again, I don't know. Let's look at what you have in house before
Yeah.
you make that decision. I think Jason Light is a very capable general manager. I know that a lot of people don't agree with me here, and this has been an ongoing thing. But I'm a huge Jason Light fan, and I love what he's done. And the fact that he's brought a Super Bowl to Tampa, I love him for it. So
Mm.
I trust the process, and I believe that he's going to do what's best for this team and for his job. And I think that he's going to put the Bucs in the best position that he can.
Yeah, I agree. I think, with the receiver position, I don't see them, bringing in a veteran right now.
Nah.
I think they'll let it play out. If it's not working and they see, a veteran that they can afford that will come in here and be a good fit, then I could, definitely see them moving forward with that. Add in a guy like maybe a Jarvis Landry just because he has played with Baker Mayfield before. So there could be a match there, but I like what they have in house. And I think that's what they're going to roll with right now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and what that's what I like about this team right here, man. I
Mm.
like the general manager. I think the general manager does what's best for the team or what he thinks is best for the team, and he's working hand in hand with Todd Bowles to get him what he needs to make this offense and defense flow smoothly. Shout out to Joe Patterson, my guy Joe Patterson. Again, this is a safe zone. The Raiders fan. I mean, you never know who you're going to see. Maybe a Ravens fan. You might
Yeah.
see a Saints fan in here. You never know. So again, this is all about football. Football is a microcosm of the world. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody's input. I love that the chat is blowing up the way it's been. This has been a lot of fun. So I really appreciate you guys. And I'm gonna have to steal your guy Pless from Real Bucks Talk every chance I get, man, because it's going to be a fun season. And
Yeah.
honestly, guys, appreciate football. The fact that Tampa has a football team that we can all love and appreciate. They've been around. We've seen the worst of times and we've seen the best of times. If you've been a Bucks fan, I'm going to go back to 2010. If you've been a Bucks fan since 2010, you've seen the best and the worst of this team. And that's the beauty of it. When the Bucks got to the mountaintop, I mean, it was just like there was nothing else like it. And I can tell you that the Bucks will get there again. This ownership, they've done what they had to do. They get a lot of criticism, but again, at the end of the day, when you consider old school like myself going way, way back, and you consider what we've been through getting to where we are now, metal bleachers, directly in the sun, burning the back of your legs, going to a
Yeah.
football game. And then you look at where we are now, and you got luxury seats and box seats and stuff, man. It's just a joy to have a team in Tampa and you have something to appreciate.
Yeah, no doubt. It is a blessing. It's awesome to have a team here, and yeah, can't wait for the season. I think this season is going to be a lot more fun. I know last
Yeah,
year, for whatever reason, I think just had a bad taste in your mouth, especially when obviously you had the Jensen injury to
yeah.
start the off season or training camp,
Mhm.
and then just I don't know, something the vibe just didn't feel right with the team, and it kind of just went downhill from there. And
Yeah.
it was you're kind of on repeat every game. It's like, okay, can the offense do enough here, or can they figure it out and to score points to help out their defense?
Hmm.
Um, and going into this season, I think it's exciting because it's kind of a win-win situation for the Bucks because
Yeah.
you have a very good defense on one side. You have an offense that's going to be new and different that
Yeah.
has potential to be
Mhm.
something better than most people think.
There's no
Um,
game film on him either.
right, exactly. But also at the same time, if things don't work out, if
Mhm.
things don't pan the way we want it to, and let's say we win 6-7 games, then you're still in a good spot because you go
Yeah.
into next season where you kind of build something and
Mhm.
you're in position to maybe draft your quarterback of the future,
Mhm.
and kind of just build from there. So I
Yeah.
kind of see it as a win-win situation. Now if they only win like 3 games, then obviously you're most likely starting over with a new head coach and stuff like that, so could
I
get
am I
interesting.
am thoroughly going to question the NFL if the Bucks only win 3 games this year. And I'm not
I
I'm not
I agree. I have
I
I have their floor at 7, so I
yeah.
think it's 7 wins or more for them. Um, and granted, you gotta stay healthy.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
if this team gets derailed by injuries, then obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
3 to 5 wins could be in
Yeah.
reasonable
That's realistic.
context. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because if you think about it, you've got Mike Evans, you've got Chris Godwin, and that alone right there puts you in the because we've been spoiled by good wide receiver play for at least 5 years, at least
mhm,
minimum. And what you've got two premier wide receivers, and keep in mind Chris Godwin is healthy now. He's 100% healthy from that
right.
catastrophic injury year before last. So you're talking about somebody that we haven't the fans have not been talking about Chris Godwin in the offseason in Bucks, or I should say, I can't say Twitter, X
Yeah,
app, the app
X-verse.
formerly known as Twitter X or
Yeah.
whatever. They haven't been talking about him. He hasn't been mentioned. He's a guy that's going to make plays. He's going to open people's eyes this year. And I promise you're hearing this right here from me. I normally don't get with the hot takes, but I can tell you right now what I saw from Chris Godwin the last 2 or 3 games of the season last year, where he was getting healthy and he was getting over that injury. I'm so excited for what I'm going to see from him this year if he can stay healthy, and I think that you fans will be as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm super excited for Chris. I think, just he's really taken this offense by storm and really, grasping it. It looks like being a leader for other guys. So yeah, I can't wait to see what he brings as far as just being utilized in different ways. And these guys are now going to get free releases off the line, not they're just going to be motioned into different spots. So it's going to help them create more separation and have opportunities to run after the catch. And we see what Chris Godwin can do once he runs after the catch. I mean,
Yeah,
he's dynamic. So
because yeah,
yeah, and even Mike Evans running after the
mm,
catch, having opportunities to use his size, I think
mm.
that'll be a lot of fun to see as well.
Yeah, and with a more mobile quarterback, not a you don't have a and again, this
Right.
is not a knock. You're talking about. I'm not comparing quarterbacks. You got a totally different style of quarterback by under center,
Yeah.
but you've got a little bit more mobility, and you're moving the pocket, and it's going to be a lot more opportunities for your tight ends and your wide receivers to make plays. And I think you're going to see more of more tight end play this year with this new offense compared to what you've seen with Bruce Arians or a Lord Byron type offense in the past.
Yeah, for sure. The tight ends are definitely going to be utilized more. It's going to be more, 12 personnel. I think you're
Mhm.
going to see a lot more
Exactly.
empty as well. Kind of spread them out. But like you were saying with Baker, his ability to get outside the pocket, I think that opens your offense up for more, broken plays where you can
Exactly.
get, more big plays down the field potentially. So yeah, that will add some more dynamic to your offense. And the main thing, like we said earlier, it's going to be, can they protect the football? Can they limit those mistakes?
That's the thing right there. And
That's going to be the key.
yeah.
And understanding that, it's okay to punt the football at times
Mhm.
and play defense, because you got to play that complementary football. And I think,
It's situational football. I know that's
right.
something that we all me and we've always talked about. I
Mhm.
remember, and keep in mind, I don't know if you guys know, but Pless used to be co-host of this show, and we go way back. And
Yeah.
complementary football is something we always talked about. It's vital. I don't think it gets talked about enough in the NFL, but it's something that we need to kind of get back to.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that is, talking about Coach Todd Bowles, that's his style. Like, that's what he wants to play. He wants to play smart situational football. That's something that he's been emphasizing to the team. So it's about understanding where you are in the game and taking advantage of those certain situations, offense or defensively, playing smart special teams, kind of controlling the field,
Mhm.
controlling the
Yeah.
the clock as well.
Mhm.
So it's going to be different. You're going to see a
Yeah.
different style, a more commitment to the running game, like we talked about, less throwing, and really taking advantage of setting opposing
Mhm.
defenses up and
Yeah.
trying to win that way. So that should be fun to see. It'll be a nice change. And yeah, and the comment by, what is that, Sal 319? That's a great comment. Yeah, 8 to 10 wins. I don't know about Brady being horrible. He wasn't as good as he was obviously the year
Mhm.
before. But yeah, talking about the time to throw, yeah, 2 seconds. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. It
Yeah.
wasn't Bruce Arians' offense, because Bruce requires the quarterback to hold the ball a
Mhm.
little bit longer, so
Yeah.
those plays can develop. And Brady just wasn't having it because
Mhm.
he didn't trust his offensive line, and you can't blame him for that.
Yeah. And again, we're in the preseason. Nobody's panicking right now. This
Yeah.
is you're waiting to see what you have, with the team that's out here.
Mhm.
Who's going to make the final 53, and then from there, who's able to go in and execute and do their job as the season progresses. So, yeah, there's a lot of football to be played, and this is
Mhm.
just we're at the beginning of the season. We have seen this first game. You can't really take a whole lot away from it, but you've got an idea of what to look for in the next game to see if you're seeing the same thing from the previous game. And this gives you
Right.
an indication of how this player, it kind of gives you insight on how this player is going to play, as you go down the list.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And Jonas makes a good point with the quarterback being mobile. That could hurt you as well, just
Mhm,
because Baker, unfortunately, he does have a tendency to run into
mhm.
sacks. So you kind of
Right.
have to find ways to limit that as well. So you're hoping with Canales and his coaching style that he can grasp the best out of Baker and
Mhm.
really hold that throughout
Yeah.
16 weeks or 17 weeks of
Yeah.
football. So that'll be something to look for, because he got the
Mhm.
best out of Geno Smith last year,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and you really hope they can do the same with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I had pretty much written Gino off, but just
Mhm.
watching him play and just watching his quarterback play, he didn't look like the same player that we've seen in previous seasons. And I was really impressed with what they were able to do with him. So again, this is going to be a fun season for me.
Mhm.
I don't have any expectations for this team.
Yeah.
I know that if they don't win over 6 games, then I'm kind of questioning some things, because you've got the talent. If everybody's healthy, you've got the talent to win games.
Mhm.
And you just kind of have to put it all together, and everybody does their job, then you're winning this game, or you're in each and every game.
Yeah. Well, I think if that does take place, if they're in the 6 or less wins, I think obviously that points to we just didn't have enough from the quarterback position. and you didn't have enough from um, maybe certain parts of your team, offensive line or your defensive backfield got injured.
Mhm.
So you're starting certain guys that are not supposed to be in there, and maybe you just had injuries across the
Yeah.
board. But at the same time, maybe the quarterback play wasn't above what you needed to be
Mhm.
consistently, and that definitely could take place this year. But you got to think that with what Dave Canales has talked about, hopefully he can find ways to maximize these guys. And what you've seen, if you go back and look at
Mhm.
the system that he's bringing here, and you look at the quarterbacks that have played in that system, it's a wide zone scheme with a lot of play action, a lot of open, and pretty much what Seattle did last year. So
Mhm.
when you look at that and you look at the quarterbacks that have had success, a lot of them have done well in that scheme. Baker being one of them in 2020 with the Cleveland Browns, he played in a
Mhm.
very similar scheme. You look at what San Francisco has done. The
Right.
baseline of that scheme is in this scheme as well,
Mhm.
and it seems like every quarterback they throw out there finds a way to get it done. Whether that's Jimmy Garoppolo or Brock Purdy,
Yeah.
so
Even
there's
even Trey Lance for a briff period before he got
right,
hurt. Yeah.
right. There's a lot of history to it that guys have had success. Jared Goff being one of them from Sean
Mhm.
McVay. The list goes on, but the point is, this system is going to be the key to everything. It's going to help your
Right.
quarterback
Mhm.
maybe be better than what he's shown in the past, and
Exactly.
that's what you're looking for. And hopefully you can find consistency. I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing we're going to be looking at for the Buccaneers offense.
Yeah. And to answer Jonas's question, I think you saw a lot. You saw more play action. You did see a lot more play action with Geno last year
Mm,
with Seattle.
yeah.
Not so much bootlegs. I totally agree with that. I've never considered Geno as
Yeah.
mobile as some of your other.
They
When you think of a mobile quarterback, you don't think of Geno Smith.
Right. No, they were in a lot of shotgun last year. They ran a lot
Yeah.
of, 12 personnel, so two tight
Yeah.
end sets, ran the football, and played balance. Again, Geno
Mhm.
Smith didn't have a lot of passing attempts per game. They try to keep it under 35 passes, which, for Bucks offense, that's like, what is that? Because usually we're throwing it 40 to 45 times a game. So
Yeah.
that is going to be the recipe for success
Mhm.
this year. Can they keep Baker Mayfield under 30 passing attempts and have 30 rushing
Mhm.
attempts as well, and try to keep that balance moving forward throughout the year?
Yeah, that is going to be the trick right there. And then again, that comes back to your offensive line play. How is
Mm,
that going to work out? Get opening up these holes for your running back to run through. And I believe you've got a great set of running backs that will complement each other this year. And they're very underrated right now. I think, what do they have the Bucks running? I've seen somewhere where they were like 32nd as far as or they were like the bottom tier as far as the run game. And I think, this is an opportunity for the Bucks to prove everybody wrong. And it would be great to see that as well.
yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a ton of national media saying this team is going to be one of the worst in the league, and
Yep.
I just have a hard time believing that, because when you look at this team, the defense is intact. I think the defense actually has improved with the additions of Kalijah Cansey, Yaya
Yeah.
Diaby, adding more speed
Mhm.
to your team, adding a
Mhm.
Greg Gaines who's going to add more speed off the backup as far as your defensive line.
Right.
You still have a very good secondary. I think Ryan Neal is an upgrade over what they had for Mike Edwards. Um, so yeah, I think the processing is going to be a lot better from an offensive system standpoint. Um, so I just feel like there's upside to this team. It's just going to take certain things to go the Buccaneers' way to maximize,
Mhm.
that win total. But to say they're, set on 3 wins, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I just don't. And what is Vegas? Vegas is saying what
Vegas
four?
is 6.5 is the
Yeah.
under and over, or over under. And I talked with Josh about this. I mean, I have a floor of 7 wins for this team, and I just feel like if your defense can stay healthy, that's the big question. If they're healthy, I think the defense can still carry this team to wins, or at least help them stay in ball games. Like, we're going to be in the game. We're going to be in every game. It's going to come down to, can the offense do enough offensively and put up points, which they have the talent to do so.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come down to, can Dave Canales call the game in a way where it's going to be effective and help these guys out week in, week out.
Yeah. Josh Capo, I've got a question for you. I need to be added to your chat, your fantasy. Even though I'm retired, I do want to get in your chat because there were so many interesting scenarios, so much to talk about. And I missed out on all this because I was excluded from your chat. So if you can find it in your heart,
we'll get you added.
Just give me added. I mean, I promise I just
I'm surprised you're not added, because KB's like the manager of that chat. He should be able to
yeah. Now I see where this is going. Okay. So that's the guy I need to talk to.
There you go. Okay. Talk to your boy Ken.
Well, guys, I can't believe this. We've been on here for an hour. This has been the most excited I've been, in a long time, just getting ready for the season. It's finally here. Reality's setting in. I loved a lot of the flare-ups that we saw. We see that the Buccaneers have energy. They're not going to let anybody push them around. And this right here, just a little bit, a glimpse into what I expect to see from this team. I don't expect this team to lay down. I keep hearing about this team laying down and getting the first pick overall. Like I said, I would be so disappointed in this team if the Bucs ended up with the first overall pick. I can't wrap my head around seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't either. I'm excited for the season too. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like I said, I think it's a win-win scenario for the Bucs. I think there's a lot of upside, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I just feel like it's going to be different. I think it's going to be fun to go into every game, understanding that I think the staff is just, they're going to understand how to attack teams better. And we already know defensively they can find ways to shut teams down, or at least keep your team in the game. So it's going to be a lot of close games, and it's going to come down to, can they find a way to win in the fourth quarter? That's going to be the difference. But I like it. I like the dynamic. I think the team is definitely on a mission. I think they're hungry because they see that doubt, and we'll just have to. We'll have to let it play out.
Yep, they have a lot to prove. And again, folks, thank you so much for checking out Buc What You Heard. A lot of new faces in here, a lot of people in the chat. I appreciate this. I don't know how you guys feel about Thursday night. I am looking to do a little bit something different. My guy, as you know, Michael Pless from Real Bucs Talk, he was with Buc What You Heard before he became a free agent and got to another team with Real Bucs Talk, but always a friend of the show. He's family. I mean, we've known each other forever. This is a guy that I depend on his draft picks and his draft knowledge and just the stuff that he brings in. It's amazing. And I appreciate all you guys taking time to come over here and check out the show. It means a lot. I love the chat, man. I love everybody involved in the chat. Thank you so much. I'll be here again next Thursday. Wednesday has just been kind of challenging for me, but for the people that normally check me out, I will be doing Thursdays moving forward. That seems to work a little bit better for me. The way I can get to watch game film and talk a little bit more intelligently, and I'm not rushed, going into the season. So look for that change. And again, I want to thank you. Please, if you get a chance, like and subscribe. If you had fun with the show, be sure to check it out. I will be bringing the live phone calls on starting next week. Just been lazy about it. And put the number in here so you can call in and contribute, because that's what makes podcasts great, is when you get the listeners to get involved. Because I don't think it's fair that you just have to listen to us and you can't provide your opinion. So next week you'll see a little bit more. I'll try to get 2 or 3 calls in and try to build up from that as we go into the season. But again, this is where I'll be at. I'm going to try to get Pless on again. If I can do it again, I'm going to do it every chance I get. It's just been great, man. It's just been a great friendship, since we've been knowing each other. Pless, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys so much for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to Buck What You Heard yet. It's a great channel. And at Real Bucks Talk, we have a lot of videos coming out or have come out this week. We got a special video tomorrow. Trey Palmer, we're going to go over his film and dissect that. Is he a good fit for that number 3 receiver position? But yeah, you can find me. Just Google Real Bucks Talk. You can find my Twitter. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. So check out our YouTube channel. Obviously, a lot of you guys here are already subscribed to the channel, so much appreciated. And yeah, it's been awesome. It's great to talk with you, Gene, as always. And yeah, I'm hoping hopefully soon I can come visit again in Arizona or see you down here sometime soon.
Oh, it's gonna happen. Oh, we're going to Gasparilla, man. What are you
Oh, there we
talking about,
go.
bro?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, man.
I'm looking forward. Yeah,
look for my man, Michael Pless in a pirate costume, throwing out beads at Gasparilla. This is gonna be the highlight of the year right here. Trust me. So man, awesome. Thank you so much. And again, before we jump out of here, again, thank you everybody. To answer Jonas, yeah, I'll have the number up on the band as soon as the line is open, just so you can call in and just give your thoughts on the Jets game, because I do want to hear from you guys. I don't think, again, like I said, you can watch some of these syndicated shows and you don't get to talk, you don't get to give your opinion, you just have to listen to what somebody else says. And I think it's better for you to be able to call in and give your thoughts. So yeah, I'll definitely be doing that. And we definitely will. We're going to have some fun. Well, like I said, hopefully I can drag Pless on here again, bribe him or something, get him back on here. But it's always fun, having friends and family on, which I consider you family, bro. And we just do it, man. So again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Look for us next Thursday. If Pless is available, I'm going to get him on here, and we'll take some of your calls and answer some of your questions. And if the game was good, we'll get some good feedback. If not, let's let the Bucs have it or whatever. We're here for it. So anyway, we're out of here. Thank you so much for checking us out, and you guys have a great evening. Peace.